I often say that not knowing is a huge problem. The fact that we don't know what is going on. We are self aware. We are having an experience, but we do not know what is going on. And that is a problem, because if we don't know what is going on, that means that we can be manipulated. Right? We can be manipulated in so many different ways because we don't know what is going on. But really, the biggest problem is that you know. The biggest problem isn't that you don't know. The biggest problem is that you know. And to put it more accurately, the biggest problem is that you think you know. You see? There are a lot of things that you think you know. For an example, you are watching me. Wherever you are watching me talk. You know that you are watching me talk. But do you know if I'm conscious? How do you know that I'm not just a figment of your imagination? How do you know that I have my own mind? You don't know if I have my own mind. You don't know if I have my own consciousness. You don't know if I'm not just a figment of your imagination. But you think you know that I have my own mind. I'm not just a figment of your imagination. I'm self-aware. You've already assumed that that is the truth. You've already assumed that the people that you meet in your life are self-aware. They have their own minds. They have their own lives. When you're not with them, they are doing something somewhere. When you're not with your friends, they're doing something somewhere. They have their own lives. You assume that Sunday is true. Sunday is the idea that each and every person that you meet have their own lives. They were born. They were once children, or they're still children. They have their own problems. They have their own thoughts. They have their own dreams. They have their own desires. They have their own minds. You assume that that is true. Why do you assume that that is true? You see, you confuse what you assume might be true and what you know is true. See, you can't make the distinction between what you assume is true and what you know is true. You see the problem? Like, it's hard for you to make that distinction. You just automatically assume that certain things are true. But how did you come to assume that it is true that other people are self-aware? At what point in your life did you assume that no, other people have their own minds, they have their own lives, they have their own problems, they have their own desires, they have their own thoughts? At what point did you start to assume that that is true? And why did you assume that that is true? And why did you think that what you assume to be true is actually the truth? The real problem is in that You don't know. The real problem is that you know. Let me show you why this is a real problem. Last night you dreamt, right? Last night when you were sleeping, you had a dream. Do you remember what you dreamt about? Some of you do, some of you don't. But did you think that you were in a dream and you were the only conscious being in that dream, and other people didn't have their own lives, they didn't have their own minds, they didn't have their own thoughts, they didn't have their own desires? Did you ever think that? Or you knew that they had their own thoughts, they had their own desires, they had their own lives? You knew. You see? You knew that they had their own thoughts, they had their own desires, they had their own minds, until you woke up. That's when you realized that the people that I was interacting with were just figments of my imagination. But you see what the problem was? The problem was you assuming that you know that other people that you were interacting with in your dreams were self-aware. You see? Where did that problem start? It started in this reality. You assume that other people exist. You didn't verify that. You had no method of verifying that other people exist. You just assumed that they exist. I know that my friends exist. I know that my mom exists. I know that my dad exists. I know that my dog exists. No, that's true. You know that. But then you went on to assume that you know that your dog has its own consciousness. Your mom has her own consciousness. Your dad has his own consciousness. Your friends have their own consciousness. And you confuse that with knowing. Like, yeah, that's something that I know. You see the problem? How do you know anything at all? This is a very important question. How do you know anything at all? How do you even get to know anything at all? Wouldn't it be accurate to say that the only thing that you know for sure is that you're self-aware, and that is the truth? Do you feel like what I'm saying is not true? That the only thing that you can know for sure is that you're conscious? You might say, well, that's not true. Maybe I will know someday that other people are conscious. Will it be accurate to say that now the only thing that you know for sure is that you're conscious? And if you don't think that that is true, tell me what else you know in the comments. Tell me that, well, I know that my friends have their own minds. I know that I'm not dreaming. I know that matter exists. It's not just an illusion. I know that I'm in a planet called Earth. I know that gravity is real. I know that if the sun didn't exist, I wouldn't exist. If the moon didn't exist, I wouldn't exist. If there weren't trees, I wouldn't exist. I know that I'm not dreaming. I know that I was born. I know that the world didn't begin to exist when I started to observe it. I know that the world didn't begin to exist in my own mind when I started assuming that it actually exists. That is something that I know. I know that when I die, the world is going to continue to exist. The world is not going to stop existing. People ain't going to stop existing. If you know that, tell me in the comments. That, yeah, I know that you are conscious, Benedictines. I know that you're not just a figment of my imagination. I know that materialism is true. I know that idealism isn't true. The problem is that you know. And because you know, you can never know anything. So the reason why it's hard to convince a Christian that what they believe might not be the truth is because they know. You see, in every religious cult, people are encouraged to have faith, and they are told that the more faith you have, the easier it will be for you to manifest what you want. So you must not have doubts. See, so you must know. You must actually get to a point where you actually know that the religion that you believe in is the truth. Not knowing is bad. You see, not having faith is bad. Jesus was able to walk on water because he had faith. And one of his disciples was also able to walk on water because he had faith in the beginning, but when he started to doubt, he started to sink because he started to doubt. So you mustn't doubt, you must know. You must know that Christianity is true. You see? That is a huge problem. That is why when you talk to people who are very religious, it feels like you're talking to a rock. Like you can try to show them things from a different perspective, but they won't even be able to understand you because they are so closed-minded. They already assume that they've figured out what the truth is. You have to be so open-minded that you question everything. Everything that you've ever assumed, you have to question it thoroughly. There mustn't be anything that you assume to be true without questioning it thoroughly. And if you start questioning everything, you'll actually realize that you know nothing except that you are self-aware. You're self-aware. You're having an experience. That's all that you know. You don't know if this experience that you are having isn't just caused by your mind. You see, you don't know what's sourcing this experience. It could just be your mind that's generating what you call reality. The truth could be that you've always been the only one who is self-aware. Always have been that way. Things have always been that way. You've always been the only one who's been self-aware. Let me ask you a question. Do you know that you were born? Do you remember being born? Do you remember the first day you became self-aware? You open your eyes and you're like, what is this? Do you not feel like you've always existed? Like you've always been here? Like there was never a point where you weren't here. Like you were always here. You were always conscious. When you have a dream, you assume that you've always been conscious, right? In your dreams, you don't remember how your dreams begin. You don't wake up somewhere and be like, okay, what is this world? What is going on? You just assume that, well, I've always been here. And you want to know what's crazy? Your own mind is going to generate a backstory to justify why you are in that dream and why that dream is real. You see, it will create a backstory. I'm having lunch with my girlfriend. I've met my girlfriend 3 years ago. We've been engaged for a while. Your mind will create a backstory. You'll even remember how you've met. You'll even remember what happened before you met, if you want to remember what happened before you met, in order to justify the present moment. You're not just dreaming. You see, it goes back to what I was saying, that the problem isn't that you don't know. The problem is that you know. You know that you've met your girlfriend 3 years ago. You know that she existed before you met her. You know that you were dating someone when you met her. That person had their own minds. You know that that person once got you arrested. You know that your dad bailed you out. You know that you went to school in South Africa. You know what I mean? Like your mind is going to create a backstory to justify the present moment. And you're going to think that the story is true. And it will never stop. Unless you stop asking questions. It will never stop. It will create back stories. Infinite backstories to justify the present moment. Your mind does that. That's why you have false memories in your dreams. How do you know that your memories are false? After you wake up, you're like, whoa, I only been in that dream for 2 hours, but I was able to remember things that happened 20 years ago in that dream that didn't happen in this reality. How is that possible? Your mind is creating stories to justify the present moment, but you assume that that is not what is happening. You assume that no, these stories are true when you are in the dream. You see? How do you know that things are what they seem to be? How did you verify that things are what they seem to be? Is there a person that came to you and actually confirmed to you that things are what they seem to be? And if there is a person that came to you and confirmed to you that things are what they seem to be, were you able to verify that that person was self-aware? That person had their own minds for you to be able to even trust them? Do you know what reality is? Do you really know? Do you know that we were once monkeys? Is that something that you know? Or is that something that you assume to be true? This isn't something that you actually know, but you assume that it is true because it makes sense to you. If you were in a dream where scientists discovered that humans were aliens, they came to Earth 500,000 years ago, and they started to alter their DNA in order to fit perfectly here. I mean, we don't fit perfectly here, but you know. So they altered their DNA in order to be able to fit in perfectly here. That will make sense. Right? It will make sense in that dream. You'd even believe that it's true, and you'll even find evidence that supports what you believe. You'd find ancient monuments that actually support what you believe. You'll find stones with messages that support what you believe. Maybe you'll even discover spaceships. I mean, not you, scientists will discover spaceships, and they'll tell you and other people in that dream that, oh yeah, we discover spaceships. We don't know where these spaceships really come from, but we think, I mean, some of them will say they don't know where they come from, but some of them will tell you that, oh yeah, we were aliens and we altered our DNA. We just forgot because we had to become like animals that are here. So we had to forget. If your own mind can fool you, Why do you assume that it's not fooling you right now? I mean, it does fool you, and it does that many times. So why do you assume that it's not fooling you? Isn't it strange to you that when your own mind is fooling you, you don't think that it's fooling you? It's only after it has stopped fooling you that you like, oh shit. It's only after it has stopped fooling you that you realize that my own mind was fooling me. It's only after you've woken up from a dream that you like, oh, it was all a dream. It was all a dream. My favorite episode from a TV series is called It Was All a Dream. It's an episode from a TV series called Atlanta. It has 4 seasons. The last episode of the 4th season, which was the season finale, I mean, it was actually the last episode of the show. It was revealed to us that one of the characters would get inside a sensory deprivation tank, and he will dream, and he would not. It will get to a point where he get lost in his own dreams, that he doesn't know when he's dreaming and when he's not dreaming. I mean, yeah, even you don't know when you're dreaming and when you're not dreaming, but with him it was much more different, because he would wake up from a sensory deprivation tank and he'd be like, oh, I was dreaming, damn, I thought that was real, and then live his life and then wake up again and be like, whoa, that was also a dream. Come on, man, like I thought that was real. The only way he was able to tell whether he was dreaming or not was when he would watch Judge Judy. If Judge Judy was thick, if Judge Judy had a thick ass, he would know that he's dreaming. And if she had she looked normal, and he knew that he was not dreaming. So it will get to a point where he keeps on waking up, think, oh, this is real. And then he wakes up and be like, oh, I thought that was real, but what's going on? It would even scream sometimes, because it would be very frustrating. It got to a point where he told his friends that he thinks he's in a dream. He stole a Maserati to save his friends. His friends were in this other restaurant and they were about to, get kidnapped. And he saved them. And they went back to their friend's place, and when they were there, they asked him, oh, where did you get the car from? And he said, I stole it. They're like, what? What do you mean? He said, I stole it from the ballet. They're like, you get in trouble for that. And he said, I'm not worried about getting in trouble. I'm still in the tank. That was funny, man. Like, that was really funny. They all looked at him like, what? One of his friends said, no, you're not in a tank. He said, no, I am. We're like, no, you're not in a tank. We're really here and we're really your friends. And he said, maybe it's just my dream. And you're just in it. Always have been. And that episode ended with him watching Judge Judy, but they didn't show us whether the S was thick or not. He was just chilling watching Judge Judy, and then he smiled. Because the viewer doesn't know whether he smiled because, well, he stole a Maserati and it is just a dream. So he's not gonna get in trouble. Or he was smiling because, well, he was experiencing reality and he was with his friends. Yeah. It was all a dream. Doesn't everything point to life being a dream, though? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that consciousness can be created? And this is a very important question. Do you think that consciousness can be created? Does that seem possible to you? That consciousness can be something that can be created? Like, if you were advanced enough in science, you'd actually be able to create something that is self-aware. I know what you're thinking. What about ChatGPT? I mean, that ChatGPT seems conscious. Even dream characters seem conscious, right? Don't they? Do you ever doubt that dream characters are conscious when you're interacting with them? They seem conscious. They'll even tell you things that you do not know. If you realize that. They even make music. They'll even teach you new things. Some people would say, nah, it's not possible that I might be the only conscious being in the universe because other people have taught me things. There are people who have taught me math. There are people who have taught me other languages. If I was the only conscious being in the universe, I'll be the one that's teaching myself. No. You can learn new things from your own projections. They can tell you things that you don't know. And you assume that, oh, that means that they are conscious. Next time when you're dreaming, ask one of your dream characters to teach you something that you don't know. I mean, sometimes they will refuse. They'll say, well, I'm in a hurry. Isn't it strange that even in your dreams you get rejected? They'll be like, no, I'm in a hurry, I'm going to work. As if they're really going to work. As if there's a place where they're going to go to and actually work. No, they're not going to work. You're just dreaming that they are going to work. They didn't reject you, you're just dreaming that they did. But yeah, if you keep on asking these dream characters to teach you something that they know, eventually you will find a dream character that's willing to teach you, and they will teach you something that you don't know, to teach you a new skill. Or they will tell you something that you don't know. They will reveal something to you that you don't know. Or they will teach you a new language. A language that you never were able to speak before. They'll teach you that language. And people will ask themselves, if I'm the only conscious being in the universe, why am I not rich? I mean, if I'm the only conscious being in the universe, that will actually mean that I'm God. So why don't I have everything that I want? Why don't I control this reality? Why can't I be able to control this reality if I'm the only conscious being in the universe? Why can't you control your dreams? Can you control your dreams? Some people would say, yeah, when I'm lucid dreaming, I'm able to control my dreams. Maybe you have to be lucid in this life too, but I want to show you something. When you're lucid dreaming, you're not actually lucid dreaming. You're actually dreaming that you're lucid dreaming. Listen, you're dreaming that you actually know that you're in a dream. Because if you really knew that you were in a dream, you'd wake up. You see? So you knowing that you are in a dream is still you pretending to know that you're in a dream. It isn't the real knowing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know in this realm that you are in a dream. That's what I mean. So you're still dreaming. You're just dreaming that you know that you are in a dream. So you can never truly lucid dream. You just dream that you know that you are in a dream. If you knew for sure when you are dreaming that you are dreaming, you'd wake up. That is why you wake up once you realize that you're dreaming. You see? You might say, nah, but dreams are fuzzy. No. Weird things happen in dreams. Sometimes a person might appear to be black and then they appear to be white. They might appear to be, a cat and then be a car, whatever. Like, they don't really make sense. But notice that when you are in the dream, when you're in a dream, no matter how weird it is, it actually does make sense. What if this reality doesn't make sense, but it only makes sense because you are in it? Someone once said, a dream is only as real as it lasts. Meaning that when you are actually dreaming, it's actually real. You are having a real experience. Because that's all that reality can be. So it's real, but it's an illusion as well. So reality can only be an illusion. So yeah, you might really ask yourself, yeah, why are dreams fuzzy? Why do things keep on changing? I could be dreaming that I'm in New York. I find myself in Cape Town and then find myself in Lagos, Nigeria. Like, how does that even happen? How does that even work? Maybe the problem is how you remember your dreams. Maybe the problem is how you remember your dreams. Maybe the problem isn't that dreams are not consistent. Maybe you just don't remember them well. Just try to remember something that has happened. Try to remember how you met your friend. Do you feel like, can you recreate that memory in your mind? Can you recreate that experience in your mind? I mean, can you create that experience in your mind from your memories? Like, you don't really remember everything, But when it was happening, you were able to experience every moment of it. But now you don't remember everything. So maybe the problem is how you remember. It's like once something has happened, once an experience has passed, it dissolves, and what's left is memories. Because even when you're dreaming, you're having an experience, but then it will dissolve, right? Just like any other experience, even the experiences that you get to have in this reality or in this illusion dissolves. You might say, nah, that this doesn't make any sense. Why do I keep on waking up to this reality? Yeah, why do I keep on waking up to this reality if it's a dream? I mean, when I sleep, I go to different realms, right? I have different experiences. It's not like if I dream today that I'm a millionaire, tomorrow I'm going back to that dream where I'm a millionaire. I'll go to a different dream where maybe I'm poor, or maybe I'm a prisoner, or maybe I'm in another planet, maybe I'm an alien, maybe I'm a chicken. I wonder what it's like to dream that you're a chicken. I've never dreamed that I was a chicken. It's funny. I wouldn't even want to dream that I'm a chicken. But yeah, why do you keep on waking up to this reality? If it's just a dream, you wouldn't keep on waking up to it. You just wake up in a different world, right? How do you know that you keep on waking up to the same reality? How do you know that things don't keep on changing? What if the Mandela effect was true? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you my Mandela effect story. My glitch in the matrix story. I remember Rowan Atkinson. Don't know if I pronounced his name right. I remember Rowan Atkinson dying back in 2019 or 2018. I remember Rowan Atkinson dying, and everyone knew that. Everyone knew that Mandela died. I mean, not Mandela. I mean Rowan Atkinson. Everyone knew that Rowan Atkinson died. But last year, I had a conversation with my cousin. I think I was. I don't know. I don't know if I had if I was talking to my cousin. Like, I don't really remember. Maybe it was just a friend. But I had a conversation with someone, and I was saying, dude, Rowan Atkinson was on another level. Like, dude was really funny, and even his comedy specials were insane. Like he was that good. And he asked me, why do you keep on saying was as if the guy is died? I was like, yo, the guy died in 2018 or 2019. He was like, no, he's not dead. He was like, what? He's like, no, he's not dead. He was like, no, dude, like, stop lying to me. The guy is dead. And then we checked on Google. Turns out that the guy is alive and well. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I remember this guy dying for real. Let me give you another Mandela effect story that I had. There was this girl that I knew when I still know her. There's this girl that I knew stayed somewhere. I grew up knowing that she stayed somewhere, right? I used to play with her when we were young. She was a bit younger than me, but yeah, we used to play together, you know. I was still young, so I don't think I'm some kind of, you know what I mean. So yeah, um, of course, as you grow up, you'd you know stop you know being friends with some people. So yeah, we stopped being friends, and we wouldn't even greet each other when we'd pass each other in the street. We wouldn't even greet each other. This other day, I saw her. She was going somewhere. I was like, you know what? Let me go in, cause she's dope. Let me go in. Yeah, we started talking, and she told me after we've spoken for like maybe 8 minutes. We're working together, and she's like, "Yo, let me go home." It's like, "Where is home?" She pointed somewhere. It's like, "Yo, that's my home." I was like, "No, that's not your home. What the fuck are you telling me? That's not your home." She's like, "No, that's my home." It's like, "Really? All right, cool." It turns out I asked someone if that was a home. It turns out that yeah, that's a home, but I've always thought that that wasn't her home. Like I always thought that I knew that where her home was, and it wasn't that place. So we can never be too sure that reality isn't constantly changing. It's just that when it does change, we assume that maybe we are the ones who are not remembering events correctly. You see? You assume that now maybe I don't remember what happened correctly. That is why it things seem different. But I do believe that we all have a glitch in the matrix story. We all have these experiences that were just too abnormal to like really comprehend. Like, nah, that cannot happen. That's impossible. I almost had an out of body experience about 6 months back. In fact, I've actually had this experience many times since the first time that it actually happened. I was sleeping, listening to someone talking about consciousness, and because normally when I sleep and begin to dream, I just begin to dream. But when I'm listening to someone talking about something, I might really fall asleep but still hear them. It's kind of like I'm in two reality, like I'm in two worlds, right? So it's kind of like that. Like I'm in a very deep state where I'm supposed to be sleeping, but I'm not. I'm still conscious. I still know that I'm listening to someone. And something started to happen, something that has never happened before. I felt my body starting to vibrate. My body started to vibrate like a cell phone, right? The way that a cell phone will vibrate started to vibrate. And it even made a sound. And it kept on becoming, so like the vibrations became stronger, right? It was like dude, it was crazy. I did have a feeling that I was about to have an out of body experience, or I was about to die. And I started to know things that I feel like I've always known, but I forgot that I knew these things. Just like when you wake up from a dream. Remember, when you're dreaming, your mind localizes itself in that dream, so you forget other things, right? So if you're dreaming that you're a chicken, you forget that you're a human dreaming that you're a chicken. So I started to remember things that I wasn't able to remember before. I kept on going, and I started to remember these things. But I decided to stop. What was strange is that I was the one that was in control. I was the one that was in control. Like, I was the one that was able to make myself have that experience. So I was able to stop that experience if I wanted to. And I was able to. I was like, no, this is too weird. I'm stopping. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen right now, but let me stop. Let me stop this. And I did. I stopped it, and I decided to wake up. Just like I was telling you, that I was not really like dreaming. I was conscious the whole time. I knew what was happening, and I literally woke up. I mean, I was already like, you know what I mean? It's not like I was dreaming. So I just woke up. When I say woke up, I mean I actually woke up and stood up, and I asked myself, what the fuck? Not like how you wake up from a dream, but like, oh, what was? No, I knew that I was not dreaming. I was just having an experience. The same way, sometimes back then my body will twitch, right? When I'm sleeping, my body will twitch, and I would feel it do that. And there are a lot of people who verify that happens. So it was kind of like that. Like, my body would twitch. I remember my ex-girlfriend would tell me that, like, yeah, what, like, you got issues, bro. Why do you do that? Like, why do you, like, that's scary. Are you sure you're not a sangoma or something? Like a traditional doctor. Yeah. Like, nah, your ancestors are calling you, bro. I'm telling you. But yeah, that will happen. So, but now it doesn't happen anymore. But it was strange. It was very strange. I've had this experience like 2 times after the first time I heard it, but the vibrations weren't as strong, and I would decide to let it go. I was like, it's like you remember something that is true, but that you forgot, or not necessarily forgot, but something that you're not supposed to remember in this reality for some reason. It's like consciousness is trying to fool you. So it's the best way to fool you is that it actually makes you forget some really important things. You see? So that you only remember what is happening. So your brain localizes itself, and you believe that, okay, the experience that I'm having is real, and this is the only experience that I've ever had, and there isn't any other realm out there. This is it. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. Just like it does that when you're dreaming. It doesn't seem to care if you suffer in your dreams. You can have a dream where you are truly suffering, and it doesn't care until you suffer until you wake up and be like, oh, it was just a dream. But consciousness doesn't care. You only wake up when you are truly terrified, or when you are truly in pain. I mean, if you're just suffering and you're used to your suffering, it's like consciousness doesn't really care. Or when you're truly terrified, you wake up. I remember last night, when I was sleeping, I put my blanket like very close to me. So yeah, it was like I put my I didn't cover myself with a blanket. I just rolled it and just put it like very close to me and slept. Yeah. I woke up. When I woke up, I saw that blanket, and I thought, don't laugh at me. I thought it was a person, and I became very terrified. I almost fainted. And this reminded me of something that happened 4 months ago. I'm sleeping and I wake up and I see a dark figure standing right next to my bed. I woke up to attack that dark figure. I was scared as fuck, but here's how I know that I'm a G. I woke up and tried to attack that thing. I didn't run away. I didn't scream. I just wanted to attack that thing. So as I tried to attack it, it grabbed my hands. So I found myself trying to like push it. It was so fucking strong, bro. And because I was scared, I woke up in my room and I was like, that was real. That was real. I felt the same way that I almost felt when I saw that blanket. It's like if it was a real person or whatever, like I probably would have fainted and woken up again somewhere and that person would have been gone. It's like I would have woken up to another reality. I would have woken up to an alternate universe where that person wasn't there. It's like that's how it happens. When you're having a dream where you are falling, you don't actually like hit the ground. You just wake up in another universe where that did not happen. Like, what if you don't die in your own perspective? I mean, what if your own perspective is all there is, so you don't actually die, you don't actually experience death? What happens is that you just wake up in a different reality. And what consciousness is going to do, and this is what it's crazy, what I'm about to tell you is crazy. What consciousness is going to do is, because you get older and you're supposed to get old, if you stop getting old, you're gonna become suspicious, like what the fuck. So you get older and that's something that you know, and when you get too old you die. But what I suspect consciousness is going to do is that it's going to create an excuse for you to keep you here. Like, it will be possible for your consciousness to be transferred inside a computer or something, or they will be able to use technology to reverse aging, or something is gonna happen so that you don't actually die. Or if you do die, you're gonna wake up in a world where you don't die, and you're gonna think that, oh, it was just a dream. I was dreaming that I'm a human and we get old. I was in this weird world where we were slaves, where we had to work and in order to survive, we ain't free. We had to pay for everything. Maybe you wake up in a world where you don't have to pay for shit. Maybe you wake up in a world where you can do a lot of shit, where you can fly, where you can control reality, where you are smart and you can create things, like, you know what I mean. Maybe you wake up in a reality like that. And it seems to me that death is impossible. Like, you can never really like die. How do you know anything at all? How do you know that what I'm telling you is the truth? How do you know that what I'm telling you is not the truth? Why do you assume that it's true? Why do you assume that it's not true? You've got to keep an open mind. Don't let this reality fool you. Some of y'all are stressing because you think you know. If you were in a dream where your girlfriend has broken up with you, you'll be stressing because you think you know that she has her own mind and you're not in a dream and she's not just a figment of your imagination. Like, oh, she has her own mind. She knows what she's doing. She cheered on me with that. You believing a story that is not true, and that story is stressing you. You see? That story is stressing you out. But it's just a story that you've told yourself. It's not real. How do you know anything is real? How do you know that what you call reality is just an illusion? It's just real because, well, you experience it as something that is real, but what it really is an illusion or a hallucination. I think that's the best way to put it. So it's not really an illusion. It's a hallucination, or the only way that reality can be, but it's not consistent. It's more like a dream. It's more like a creation of your own mind, a creation of your own consciousness. And maybe you're not supposed to like know how to like create reality. I know that there are lots of spiritual teachers who claim that you can create your own reality. Like, yo, if you just visualize what you want, you can just. Maybe that's not how reality is created. Maybe it has a lot to do with what you think you know. So if you know something to be true, it actually becomes true because you know it to be true until you experience what they call Mandela effect, right? Until you experience what they call the Mandela effect. So when you become surprised, when you shift to a reality where you know what, um, when you shift to a reality where what you know to be true isn't true anymore, and you're like, whoa, was I wrong? Keep an open mind. Stay woke. Thank you all, guys.